This part of the plot is just about prepared for winter now. There's just one more bed to do, which was the bed that had the onions in last year. So I'm going to dig that in a moment. But first of all, we're going to try and pull off the weed control fabric. It has some wood chippings on at the minute, so what we want to try and do is retain some of the wood chip to put back on once the bed's dug. The weed control fabric's regularly moved, and next year this piece of fabric will go to where next year's onions are going to be planted. Any chippings that are left will be dug in. Looks as though that's going to be quite a bit. Will that at the end stay on? That pile? Right, that looks as though it's ready for me to start digging now.
You alright with that?
Yep.
Sue is over in the sunny side of the plot, digging over that bed that had one of this year's onion crops in. The recent frosts have certainly blackened the dahlias, so while Susan's busy digging, I'm going to have a go at getting our dahlia tubers out and getting them stored, getting them bagged up to store over winter. First thing I'm going to do is get all the blackened foliage cut back and on the compost heap. I think I'm going to leave some stalk to go with the tubers. So it's a bit like potato harvesting time, except with dahlias. So it's, and I'm going to try and get this one up and see just what's underneath. Staying away because I don't want to fork too many tubers. I'll get some of this soil off with this little hand fork. See if I can find just where the tubers are. At the minute I'm tempted to stick with that because the tubers are probably in some reasonably dry compost, which won't hurt for being just fractionally moist over winter. The less damage I do to the tubers, the better, as far as I'm concerned. So I'll leave that one now as it is. As far as I can tell, I've got them all out now. All seem to be decent roots. They've all got some new tubers on from this year. I think they'll be dry enough. I might give them a couple of days in the greenhouse at home just to see if they dry out a bit more, see if I can knock a little bit more of the soil off, and then hopefully they'll store okay over winter, bagged up in the garage. What I do need to do now is have a quick sort out, dig over the bed where the dahlias have been, just to tidy it up. Looks a bit of a mess at the minute. Really is a lovely early November afternoon. Just have a wander down now and see if Sue's got this one dug over. Looks like she's about halfway through. What's the low down then? What's this one like?
It's mixed. It's heavy in parts and then not in others, but trouble is onion roots don't go very far down, no. So they haven't worked on anything. It's really heavy at that end.
Yeah, it's where all that wood chip
tends
was
to be
maybe.
better in this middle section.
This heap's been left a good 18 months now. It doesn't get turned. A bit too much like hard work. It looks very dry on the top. I suppose that's from summer, so I'm going to lift some of this dry stuff off and see if there's any decent compost underneath. You've sort of got what can out of the compost heap. Got the last barrow full there. It's not too bad of stuff, but a lot of it didn't rot down, it's just too dry, so there's a lot still left to rot down. fact, if I had chance, it's dry enough to burn rather than try and compost it. I have to see how things go. And I've had enough compost to cover about a third, maybe a half of this bed. I'll leave it like this and then hopefully dig this in next spring. I noticed a few long white roots and I investigated, and they're actually broad beans that are starting to shoot. So I think it's harvesting time now. We need some carrots, cabbage. I don't know whether we need any leeks or not.
As far as harvesting goes now, we just pick what we need for the next few days, and one of those things we need is a cabbage.
Go for this kiloton.
Some big ones, aren't they?
Well, this one is, yeah.
Next to it is quite a little one.
Not bad, is it?
No.
A few cold slaws in that one.
Yeah. Carrots.
We've done loads of carrots, haven't we? So we'll
Right.
bother with the carrots. You can do anything you want.
I finished digging this patch. We've decided not to put the weed control fabric back on because it was much lumpier than expected. So we want to leave it open to the winter weather to try and break it down a bit. But now, this section of the plot is finished. The annuals are still growing well. Just have to hope that the winter weather doesn't squash them, flatten them. So then, there's the bed I've just dug, the green manure, the bed that was dug over beginning of last week, and the autumn raspberries, which will be cut back sometime early next spring. So that section's not looking too bad at all. Martin's just getting some carrots because we need some carrots too.